My name is Eric Speece. I am the senior pastor at Christ Church in Murrells Inlet, and I have been here since 2019. One of the things that we noticed was coming out of COVID that we were running deficit budgets, and we had ideas of what we believe the Lord was wanting us to do in ministry and just ways of entering into kingdom work. But we were realizing that in order to do that, it needed funding. Reach out to Dave Roseberry. And so I did reach out to Dave Roseberry in LeaderWorks, and he told me about the grant, the LeaderWorks Grant, for kind of a pre-assessment campaign. And so we applied for that. And through LeaderWorks generosity, we received that grant. And in going through that process, we got hooked up with Horizons. And I remember meeting with Joe Park, who then put us in touch with a consultant by the name of Zip Long. And Zip was wonderful. We loved working with him. What we did from there was Zip contacted us. We brought him in for a pre-assessment campaign, or a pre-campaign assessment, I should say. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little wary of what all of this would look like. I had never run a campaign before. I just didn't know what to expect. And Zip was incredibly professional. You could tell that there was a lot of experience. And he walked us through every step. And so when he came in for that pre-campaign assessments, he had us gather some of our leaders, and he went through some interviews. Everybody loved him. He knew how to kind of set everybody at ease when talking about money. And that just spoke a lot to me as a pastor, spoke a lot to our church. And after he left, he came back with a lot of great information. Not only had he done research on just our own finances, but he did a lot of research about the context of Murrells Inlet, of the place where we are, our community. He had a lot of really good information for us. Zip had actually encouraged us, before we entered into the campaign, to also do what was called a future focus workshop. And a future focus workshop was, again, he would come back and we would do a lot of study on the demographics of our church, as well as even further study on the demographics of our surrounding community. And I just want to encourage anybody who's listening to this, that was golden for us. That, because not only did it help us understand the campaign, it helped us to understand the community that we were serving. It helped us to understand who we are as a church. It helped us to understand, it gave us some language for just the vision that the Lord was calling us into, which then made the campaign that much more successful. Because at that point, it was really not even only about raising money. It was about raising money, but it was about how do we enter in to the mission that God has called us to. So the Future Focus Workshop was a game changer for us. We were able to come out of that, move into a campaign, and it was seamless. So for our campaign, what we realized what we needed was not just debt reduction, but we also needed to be able to strengthen some of the ministries that we were already doing. And we knew that we were needing a little bit of help in just teaching about stewardship. And so those were really our three goals for the campaign: debt reduction, stewardship, and strengthening ministries. And as we entered into the campaign, what I can tell you is that we accomplished each and every one of those goals that we wanted to accomplish. We raised the money that we were hoping to raise. We were hoping to raise about $325,000 over a 3-year period, and our final commitment was $330,000. So that's what we're working with over a 3-year period. We have been able to strengthen some of our ministries. One way is that we were able to set aside a little bit of money to bring on a church administrator, which we were needing that position filled, and we just didn't have the money to pay for that. So we've been able to do that, which has allowed all of us to hand over our administrative duties and then focus on some of our of the ministries. But then also in the stewardship parts, uh, we were given, and I, as the pastor, was given a lot of language and a lot of guidance from Zip in how to teach stewardship um, from a from not just a financial standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint. One of the, for example, one of the prayers that he gave us goes like this: God, what do you want to do through me? And we were able to use that prayer, not just again for our finances, but for each of us individually as members of the church. God, what is it that you're wanting to do through me? How are you calling me to enter into the mission that you have given to Christ Church? And again, it was just a beautiful game changer. And so, and then of course, what happened out of that too was not only did we hit our benchmarks, did we hit our benchmarks? Were we given language for how to teach stewardship? We're strengthening our ministries. But this year, going into 2024, we had 30% more people commit to giving towards the annual budget. So not only did we hit our benchmarks for the 3-year campaign, but our annual budget was raised pretty significantly. In fact, we're a small church, so we have a small staff, but everyone on staff was able to receive a raise, which we hadn't really received and since COVID, and we were able to still present a balanced budget. So it was just this beautiful thing that the Lord did. And what was also really interesting to me was, as we walked through this campaign, as we had the conversations, as we listened to the teaching, as we prayed together as a church, asking the Lord to show us what he wants us to do, the thing that stood out to me was how much of this campaign was not focused on money. Because oftentimes I thought, and I know a lot of us do, and I thought this too, is that we would bring someone in and they would talk to us about how much we should be giving to the church. That's not what happened. Zip Long came in and we talked about who we are, what the Lord is doing through us, what we believe the Lord wants to continue to do through us. And from that, we handed it all over to the Lord, and he just provided for us. And it was this beautiful, it was just a whole beautiful process for us. And especially for me, having never done this, going into it with a lot of questions, some pastoral anxiety, we came out of this in a very confident, healthy place that has allowed us to go into 2024 and even think about the future of the church from just a beautiful, confident place of ministry.